Okay, this is a continuation of lesson 71. Again, these are problems from the book. And we're factoring the quadratic. We're doing the opposite of lesson 69. Lesson 69 here, you're making the factors into a quadratic by doing the distributive. So here we're doing the opposite, like you saw in the last video. So how do you do that? Well, here, number 3 on my list. Now, these are from the book. They may not be in order, but they're from the book. But here, if you'll notice that the x here, x to the second, like explained on these, is a 1. So to do these, if you have a number here and a number here, you're trying to find the factors of the last number, c, that adds up to the middle number, b here. So here, I can list the factors that equal -6. I can have 1 and 6. 1 times 6 is 6. And one of them has to be a negative. And I also have 2 times 3 is 6. So, but I need this to be a -6. So one of these has to be negative. But they have to add up to be 5. So here, I could have 2 plus 3 is 5. If I do -2 and -3, that'll be a well, that won't work. If I make one of them negative, it won't add up to 5. If I go, because one of them has to be negative to be a -6. But if you look at this one, if I have this one 6 and this one negative, well, here I got -1 times 6 equals -6. And then 6 plus a -1, that'll be a +5. Or you go -1 plus 6 will be +5. So this is the pair right here. These are the factors of 6 that will work. So since this has no number, it's going to be x and x. Okay? And then these numbers will go into these places. So x minus 1 and x plus 6. So if I go x minus 1 times x plus 6, it'll end up being like this. If you do the distributive like we did in 69, you'll end up with x to the second plus 5x minus 6. Because if you go ahead and do it, x times x is x squared, then -1x times x is -1x. Well, I did that backwards. I should go x and then x times a +6, so that's 6x. And then -1 times x, that'll be -1x. And then -1 times 6, that'll be -6. Okay, so these two here will add up +6 minus 1, that'll be 5x. So you'll end up right back to this right here. Okay, so this will be the factors. This will be the answer. All right, how about number 4? I'm going to move this out of the way. This is a redo. I made a mistake on this part, so I'm going to move that out of the way for now. Okay, number 4. We want to factor this out. We want to, there's no number in front of the x here, so I got -28, so I need to find the factors that 28 that will add up to a -3. So 1 and 28, well, that's not going to be anywhere near 3, so I know that one's out. But I know 2 and 12, no, 2 and 14. Again, that's not the whatever combination. If I do -2, +14, that's not going to be near -3, so I know those can't work. 3, no, 4, yeah, 4 and and 7. So 4 times 7 is 28, and it needs to be a -28, so one of these are going to be negative, and they need to add up to -3. So if I make this -4 plus 7, that'll be a +3. If I make this negative, if I go 4 plus negative 7, or 4 minus 7, that would be negative 3. So these here will work because 4 times negative 7 equals negative 28, and 4 plus negative 7 equals negative 3. Okay, so these will be the two that I would use in the factoring. So here, since there's no number, it's going to be x times x, and then you got the brackets. And then one of the numbers is going to be a positive 4, and the other one's going to be the negative 7. So x plus 4 times x minus 7, this is a 7, will equal x to the second minus 3x minus 28 if you do the distributive. Okay, so this here would be the answer to number 4, the factors of this quadratic equation. All right, let's keep going on this video and finish up 5 and 6 rather than starting a new one. So here I got x squared plus 8x plus 12. I want to factor them out. So I got to find something times something equals 12, but those two numbers have to add up to positive 8. So 1 and 12, that'll be too high. I'll do the factors, make sure I'm on the, yeah. So 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 2 times 6 is 12. Well, 6 plus 2 is 8, so I can stop there. 12 and 8. So this here, there's no number in front of the x, so this will be x and x. Okay, so the two numbers be x plus 2 and x plus 6. And that'll equal x to the second plus 8x plus 12 when you do the distributive. Okay, so these in this lesson you need to take C. Remember it goes a x to the second plus b x plus c. This number here, the 12, if you find the factors of this number that add up to this number, those are going to go into this factoring. Let's try number 6, the last one here. Okay, so here there's no number in front of the x squared, so it's going to be x times something times x times something. And I got to find negative 3, something times something equals negative 3, that also adds up to 2. Well, the only factor is 1 and 3. 1 times 3 is 3. And one of them has to be negative. Well, here, if I make this a negative 1, 3 plus a negative 1 is going to be a positive 2. Or if I go negative 1 plus 3, that'll be positive 2. And negative 1 times 3 equals negative 3. So therefore, these will be the two numbers, x minus 1 and x plus 3. Okay? So this here will be the answer to number 6. Okay, and then I had a note here. Look at 558 in the book, problems 22 through 25. Let me see if I can get it on camera here. Whoa. Yeah, these here. Now on the test, sometimes they'll give you choices. They'll give you the quadratic equation, and then it'll give you 4 choices and tell you which one is correct. Well, here C is correct. And sometimes what you can do, if you can't figure out which one is which, like what the numbers are going to be, go ahead and FOIL these, or do the distribute for A and see if it matches this. Then do B and see if it matches this. And then do C and see if it, you'll want to, sometimes you can do them and find the one that matches the problem itself if they give you the answers. Okay, just like here, you can go ahead and figure out what the quadratic equation is from the answers they give you. Most of the time it'll be pretty easy to, you should be able to find the 2 factors of 16 that add up to negative 10. But again, sometimes it's I get brain clouds and I can't get it, so then I look to the answers to see if they'll give me a hint on how to come up with the solution. So this is the book where I got the problems from. You want to practice these. The answers are on the back on page 822. They start on page 822. And again, if you get stuck on one, just like I got something, 40 and negative 13. So I got to find two numbers that multiply together to equal 40, but they have to add up to negative 13. Okay, so sometimes you might have to look in the answers to kind of give you a lead onto what the solution is. Just looking at this, let's see if I can do it real quick. Let's see, I got 1 and 40. No, that's not even close. 2 and 10. No, that's not going to give me 13. 3, 4 and 5. No, 4 and 10. See here, let's see, 5 and 9. That's 14. So you can see this one, I'm even having a little trouble on. So if I get stuck trying to figure out what it is, I can look in the back. Well, here, this would be 20. I made a mistake there. 6 going to it, 7. So yeah, here you can see I'm kind of stuck on number 11. So I will look in the back, see what the book shows, and that will help kind of get me in the right direction. Okay? All right, hope this is, oh no, this is 8. See, now I found my mistake. So 8 and 5 is 13 if I add them together, but it's a negative 13. So if I make this a negative 5 and this a negative 8, well, negative 5 times negative 8, that'll be positive 40. If I go negative 5 plus a negative 8, that'll be negative 13. So this will be 8 minus 5 and 8, no, x minus 5 and x minus 8. So if I kept on getting stuck and couldn't find that problem, looking into the answers will set me in the right direction. All right? Hope this is helpful. I'm definitely going to have to make one for lesson 72 that gets into, well, if this x isn't a 1, what do you do? Chances of those problems, low percentage, but I'll go ahead and set up a lesson on that part. All right, thank you. Hope this helps, and I'll see you next time.